Welcome to Code with Patrick. This is week 3 of our introduction to Java. Here we go, introduction to Java. Let's dive right in and see what we got for week 3. Alright, this week we're going to be talking about variables. Okay, yeah, last week we talked about data type, and this week we're about to dive into the variables. Let's just take a moment to really look at what we're going to be doing today. So here we go, the outline. We have strings. We're going to be talking about variable, string, and we're going to be talking about integer as well, float, double, char, just like the data type we learned last week. But this time around, we're going to be talking about we're going to be putting it in context of variables. All right, so let's go ahead and just take a moment to look at what is this variable that we are talking about. Okay, so variable are containers for storing data values. Just simple, right? Basically, it's a space you're creating for the memory, for the computer to really save a particular memory according to the type of data type that you're storing in it. But eventually you get to understand what variable is by the time we get into deeply into this variable. All right, but let me show you an example right here. So when we look at the example, right, we can see how we can declare a variable in Java. Okay, first of all, we're going to be talking about the type. Okay, we're going to be dealing with the type right here. All right, so the next thing you want to declare after that is the variable name. All right, you can notice something right here. We started with a camel case letter. Okay, we started with a small letter, and the next word in your variable name is going to be starting with a capital letter. Okay, do not forget that. And then it's going to be equals to a value. Okay, so this value, your value you're going to be having here would depend on what type of data you got in here. All right, so let's take down and look. Let's look at what we have down here, a real life example. So right here at the top we got here is string. Okay, you can see right here we got string, and you can see I have declared a variable name, my name. All right, and here you can see I started with small letter, and the next word it's like starting with a capital letter. Okay, so I have my name right there, and I set it equals to. You can see we have two double quote up here. What is that telling you? It's telling you that this is a string. Okay, this is a word, this is a string. Basically that's what it's telling you. So you can see we got string up here being the type of variable we want to really have, and the value is telling us what type of variable. So if I was having integer right here, if I was definitely having integer right here, okay, if I was having int right here, right, don't mind my the write up right there, then I'm not gonna be having double quote. I'll probably be having something like maybe 5 or maybe 6 or anything like that. But for right now, this is definitely a string, and that's why we're having double quotes. So you can see that your type determines what type of value you're passing or storing inside your variable name. Okay, please do not forget that. It's very, very, very important. Okay, all right, so let's look at what we got next. And looking at what we got next right here, we want to discuss the types of variable. I'm just going to show you a little bit kind of a graphical representation of those types of variables. Okay, this is, we got a local variable right here, we got instance variable, and we got static variable. So these are the three types of variables we have in Java. Okay, take note of that. And let's look at the next thing that we have here. We have the local variable. Let's talk about each of those variables. Okay, when we go back, we can easily just see that we have those 3 variables. So we want to talk about each and every one of them. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. Let's start with the local variable. And starting with the local variable, we have the local variable here. What's the local variable? A local variable declared inside the body of the method is called local variable. So a variable declared inside of the body of a method is called a local variable. Please just understand the theory part of it. Okay, it's all right. We're gonna get into Eclipse in a little bit to explain all these things so you can understand them better. Okay, so you can use this variable only within that method, and the other method in the class aren't even aware that the variable exists. Okay, so a local variable cannot be defined with static. Okay, so you can only use static when you basically declare you're only declaring a static variable. So we'll get there in a minute, but right here when I go into Eclipse, I'm definitely going to show you exactly what I mean and what I'm talking about right here. So let's get to the next type of variable. Alright, the second one we got right here is the instance variable. Okay, let's look at what that means. A variable declared inside a class but outside the body of a method is called an instance variable. Okay, it is not declared as static, it is called an instance variable because its value is instance specific and it's not shared among instances. Okay, so this one is not defined inside a method, but it is defined outside. Okay, it is defined outside the body of a method, and it can, it's called an instant variable basically, and it's not declared as static. Again, it's telling you it's not declared as static. It is called an instant variable because its value is instance specific. Okay, it's instance specific. Don't worry about it too much, grammar right here. The practical is key to coding, so I'm gonna get into Eclipse in a little bit again, just like I said earlier, to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let's get to the very last one right here. So we got the static variable, and when we say what is static variable, so here we have a variable that is declared as static is called a static variable. Basically, when you attach a static to the beginning as a type, it is called a static variable. It cannot be local. Okay, you can create a single copy of the static variable and share it among all the instances of the class. Memory allocation for static variable happens only once when the class is loaded. So for static memory, once you create it once, the memory for that is loaded and is created only once. It's not, you can reuse it all over anywhere around your your class, your method, whatever you have. So again, let's just take it easy. We are definitely going to get there in Eclipse. So here I'm going to show you an example of how these different stuff that we're talking about, how it looks right on here, so that you can see before we get down to Eclipse. So right here we can see that we have instance right here. Let me take a moment and show you. So right here we can see we have static variable, and you can see right here we have static variable. This is how static variable is defined. Okay, we have static int m is equals to 100. Okay, it is integer, so we're not putting double quote, it's not string. And this is how you declare static variable. Okay, you put static at the very beginning, and it actually shows you, it tells you that the compiler understands now that you're talking about static variable. So right here you can see we created a method. Yeah, we're gonna be doing method, we're gonna be talking about or learning what method is in the future class, but for right now this is a method. Okay, from here to this point to this point. So inside this method, basically we have actually declared int again. Okay, we've actually declared int again, and right here we declared int is equals to int n with a name, variable name n. We set it equals to 90. This is what we call a local variable, whichever one you declare inside a method. Okay, it is called a local variable. And the very last one right here is the we want to talk about the instance variable. Okay, so this is also our public main. You must be familiar with this by now. And here we have the int data, the data. We just have in, give it a variable name data, and we set this equals to 50, and this is an instance variable. We created this immediately right inside the public static void main method. Okay, so which is holding this is where the compiler is going from, and we just quickly created this right here, and that's basically how you create instance variable. The local variable and the instance variable is kind of confusing. The local variable is created inside a method, but right here we have like the main method of which your code and everything is gonna be running. Whatever data or whatever variable you create inside here is definitely an instance variable. So without taking much time, let's dive right into Eclipse and show you examples of this, and let's get our hands on coding. Right, talking about local variable. So a local variable declared inside the body of a method, just to go over it again, is called a local variable, okay? You can use this variable only within a method, and the other method and the class aren't even aware that the variable exists. Okay, so let's get into our Eclipse, and right here we just want to create a dummy, and this is again, this is not a day we're going to be talking about methods, so don't really think so much about it. Don't think about the method, but just think about what's going on with the variable. That's the most important thing you want to get out of this video. So I'm just going to go here and create a simple method, and here I'm just going to name it method. Okay, this is how you create method in Java, but again, this is not what we're doing today, so please do not get confused about this. So I want to go ahead and create, maybe let's start with string. Okay, so I want to go ahead and actually call in the string variable. Sorry, I'm gonna call string, and then I'm gonna give this my name, and I'll set this equals to, because I am declaring string here to be the type. Okay, and I'm giving it its name. You can see it's a camel case, and I'm putting double quotes because this is a string. Okay, so I believe by now you understand what I'm saying. So I'm just gonna call this, let's say my name is Paul Michael. Okay, don't forget you're gonna close that. Okay, so we've created a variable right here, but inside a method, outside of the main method. Okay, inside of a created method, outside of the main method. So what happened if I want to really print my name out? So let's say I just go system.out the print line. So by now you already know what this is doing, right? It's not new to you. So this is how we print stuff to the console. So right here, let's say I pass in my name. So let's see what's going to happen. You can see we have an error because the compiler is not recognizing, it's not picking up this name right here. Okay, if that makes sense, it's not picking it at all. So you have to really understand that whatever variable you create inside an external method, it's a local variable. A local variable, please take note. All right, so that's that you need to know. So if I want to print that out, basically I can come up here and just maybe copy this system.out the print line. I copy that one and just remove it from there because that's going to bring a compiler error. Paste it right here, and you can see that I can only, we can't see the red we can't see the red arrow anymore. We can only use this variable inside this method. We can use it outside this method. So if I want to use that that method, and I want to really see what that method is going to print, I have to call in method inside the main method. Okay, so if I put it that way, definitely I have to come change it down to static so that it will definitely recognize it's right here in the main method. Okay, so pretty much it. If we run this code, we're definitely going to see Paul Michael. Let's try it and see. So I want to go ahead, don't forget to save your code, go ahead and click the play button, and we're going to see our result right here on the console in a minute. It's still loading up. So here we can see Paul Michael. So you can see in the main method right here, we're just calling in the main method, we're just calling in what? We're just calling in the method, okay, which is the method we created right here. But the point is, we cannot access any variable created in an external method inside the main method because that variable is considered a local variable. And that's all you need to know about local variable. Let's get into the next one. Alright, talking about instance variable, a variable declared inside a class but outside the body of the method is called an instance variable. It's not declared as static, it is called an instance variable because of the value is instance specific. Okay, an instance variable, getting down into the Eclipse, I'm just gonna get rid of this one. Okay, we're done talking about local variables. So it is right inside the class. So if I come here right now and say this time around, let me make use of int, because we're definitely, when we actually show the outline we seen that we're going to be talking about integer, float, double, and char today. So I've actually used string for the very first one. Let's go ahead and try another data type, which is int. So here, let me just call this my age, and I'm going to set that equals to, let's say I'm 50. I'm not 50, but yeah, let's put it like that. Okay, so you can see we're not putting this inside the method, okay, just like we did the other time. The method right here, sorry, we're not putting this inside the method, but we're putting it outside the method. So I'm just gonna call void here, sorry. So you can see this has been declared outside. So let's see what happens if we want to call it right inside here and see if that's gonna even work. So let's say I want to print it right directly from the void, the main method. I'm just gonna call system.out the print line, okay, or we can use print, whichever. Right here I want to go ahead and pass my age right here. So let's see if that's gonna work. Okay, it's telling us, yeah, we actually accessing it, but it's saying we have to surround it with try and catch, otherwise we have to change that right there to static. Okay, so so basically what we're gonna do here is, you see, if we want to definitely make this accessible all through everywhere, we have to make this a static variable, okay, a static variable, but that's not really what we want. So let's take it off, and this is what an instance variable is. If we create it right inside the main method, we're definitely getting an instance variable right here. So you can see right now we have it, my age, and everything is looking good. So if we go ahead and run this, save this, go ahead and run it right now, we're definitely going to get my age. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and run it. It's taking a little while to load. Let's just give it some time. Okay, let's go ahead and run this right now and see what we've got. So we can see that we got the age 50 right here. Okay, so that's basically how it works. And when you declare this inside your main method, you definitely have it to be, you know, an instance variable. And the very last one we're going to talk about right here is the static variable. And so you already know the answer, right? Looking at everything we've done, you already know what the instant variable is going to be. So the instant variable is the one you can declare right up here, and it can be accessible anywhere. So let's say, and for you to, sorry, not instance variable, the static variable, okay? So for you to declare the static variable, you got to call in the keyword static. Do not forget, you got to call in the keyword static. So static, and then before you call in the type, which is going to be like, let's say float, we want to ping float, static float. And what is the name of the name we want to give the float? Let's say we have number 1. Let's call that number 1, and we set it equals to 10.9f. okay, so that's, we declare float that way. And so you can see that if I want to print this right now, okay, so I'm just going to comment this out. Of course, I'm going to teach you comment later. If I want to print this out from here, you can see this is all above declared in here in the class hello. It's declared right here. We can access it from anywhere within the code. So if I want to access that, I'll definitely just go and print in number 1. And let's see if we're going to have error this time around. So I'm just going to go number 1. And boom, you see, we got no error because this is static.
The static is definitely telling the compiler that, hey, this can be accessed from anywhere. Okay, so this shouldn't be big issue, this shouldn't be a problem at all. So that's basically how it works, and that's how it definitely works with static. So let's just go ahead and save this and then run this and see what we got. Let's see if we're still going to print in the float number right there. So you can see we're having the float number. Right, just a recap of everything basically. So we started with on the local variable. The local variable created inside a method. Okay, so that's where we created one. I'm just gonna go ahead and create one inside here right now, inside this local variable. So let's say I want to create double. So I'm gonna have double, and maybe I'll call that my number, and I'll set that equals to let's just say 100.67. Okay, and I'll put a D at the end. Remember, it's optional. If you like, if you want to, that's up to you. So remember, just to recap, we cannot access this anywhere inside the main method. Okay, so if I try to print my number right here, which is the double, I'm gonna get an error. Okay, I can only use my number inside again, I repeat, inside the method, okay, of which it is created, and that's why it's local. Remember, if we talk about your locality, you're talking about the area where you live. Outside the area where you live can be abroad, can be, overseas and all that. So that's definitely what's going on right here. So you can see, because I'm trying to access that inside the same method but not outside this method, and that's why I'm getting it correctly, and the ID is not seeing it as an error. Okay, that's that for local variable. And for instance variable, we talked about it right here. Let's say we want to create something in, let's say we want to create car, and I'm just going to call this alpha, okay, which is probably just like alphabet, and I'm just going to pass that. Remember, car is not double quote, it is single quote, so I'm just going to pass A here. Okay, and I'm gonna close that. So I can access this inside the main method, but I cannot. Let's say I want to go ahead and really access the alpha right here. I'm gonna get that error. I'm not gonna get no good result. Okay, so I'm just gonna change that to what we got there before. So you can only access that right inside the main method. So that's why I'm gonna change this to alpha, and you can see I get that right there. All right, that is making sense. And the very last one, which to me I feel like, yeah, it's very cool, is the static variable. Okay, so the static variable, I'm just gonna go start with the static keyword, and I'm just gonna give this, maybe let's go again and give it let's go ahead and give it like string. Okay, and then sorry, I'm gonna pass string, and then I'll call this my ID. Okay, I can call that my ID, and I'll set that equals to 12W. So it doesn't matter, you can put bunch of number, so whichever case it is, just go ahead, and you can even say my ID is equal that. Okay, so it's all string, it's all enclosed in double quotes, so it doesn't matter. So this I can access inside this method. So let me go ahead and print this system. Okay, I'm just gonna go system.out the print learn, and here I can access let me just put in my ID. Okay, so you can see we got that right there. Inside the method we can still access static variable. Oh my god, that's amazing. So let's go into the main method and see if we can still access it right there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and print system.out the print learn, and let's go ahead and also pass my ID and see if we can. Good, you can see that's amazing. We accessed it in the method we created up here, and we can access it from the main method right here. So that's the important of my ID. Static. The static says you can view it from anywhere, literally anywhere in your code, and that's how it works. And this is gonna be all for this particular class for this week. And I hope you and wish you happy learning. I'll talk to you in the upcoming week.